All right, we're gonna keep it going with our superheroes here. We got another juggernaut that's coming. This young lady, she is a full-time PhD in public health student at Yale University and serves part-time as an Army Medical Service Officer and academic success coach. Crystal grew up in rural Alabama in a small town called Ozark. She illustrates her academic journey from public housing to Ivy League in her first book, Crystal Clear, a journey of self-discovery that launches on March 21st of 2021. She conducts religious and spiritual-based research in low-income African-American communities to further investigate how public health officials can help change the narrative of Black health in America through culturally appropriate interventions. Crystal's hobbies include dancing, Argentine tango, and reading. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Crystal Harrell.
Hi, Barry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that great introduction. And thank you so much, Mia, because I needed that meditation before coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very special day for me for many reasons, because I have the opportunity to share my story with you on a day like today, February 6th, 2021, my 26th birthday. I never thought in a million years that I would have the chance to speak alongside my hero, someone I've admired since I was 17 years old, Mr. Les Brown. I have enjoyed my time with the Power Voice family, with John, with Winnie, and everyone who has made my dreams a reality. I could not have asked God for a better birthday gift than this. There is a scripture I enjoyed that states, "Your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will be your future." For a long time, I was ashamed of my story. I never wanted to talk about it. However, after becoming a certified academic success coach, every student who reached out to me wanted to know the same thing, my story. Michelle Obama states, "Your story is what you have, what you will always have. It is something to own." It is important for us to embrace every aspect of our story, even the painful chapters, because they matter. My parents are from a rough area in Miami called Liberty City. When my mom was 6 months pregnant with me, they moved from Liberty City to a small rural town called Ozark, Alabama. There, she and my father raised me and my 9 other siblings in public housing. Yes, it's a lot of us. The love and dedication of my parents shielded us from a lot of adversity and pain that's usually associated with growing up in low income housing. We were broke, but far from being poor. My parents raised us in faith. Both my parents were ministers, and we were in church almost 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. My parents taught me valuable lessons in life, many of which were unintentional. From my mother, I learned how to give of myself to the satisfaction of others, but never to a point where it compromised my peace of mind. My beautiful mother taught me love and humility and the power of dedication and hard work. However, the biggest lesson I received in life was from the presence and absence of my father. My dad was this medium-framed man with a full head of salt and pepper hair and a low-cut beard to match. He wore these gold-framed glasses that hid his hazel eyes, and he loved reading and classical piano. He even got my older sister piano lessons so that he could listen to her play while he read. My dad taught me how to read and write before I began school. He was my first educator and the reason I will remain a lifelong philomath. One day, in the summer of 2006, I had to grow up very quickly. I was 11 that summer and on my way to start the 6th grade in the fall. I shared a room with my 2 sisters, April and Rachel, and I remember waking up one day and they were both gone. I thought it was strange that the room was empty and the energy in the house definitely felt different. What added to this strangeness was that the house was completely silent. Our house was never silent. I remember I got up and I got dressed and I pulled out a shirt from the big pile of clothes that was in our closet that was a mixture between me and my sister's clothes. And I headed to the front room like I had done every morning, where I was usually met by one of my siblings who had gotten up early to watch television. When I looked in the front room on this particular morning, it was filled with people that I did not recognize. The only children present were my siblings. I remember looking at my mom and she told me to sit down. So I took a seat next to my older sister, who was sitting on this brown piano stool we had that was worn down from years of use. And it always squeaked and leaned to the side when someone would sit on it. My mom was sitting on the gray sofa, on the arm of the gray sofa, and I remember she looked so sad. My mom had very vibrant energy, especially when company was over, but not on this morning. My mom took a deep breath and she looked at her children and said, I have something to tell you that may seem a little bit difficult to understand at first. She paused. Your dad passed away last night. After hearing this, my mind completely blanked. I remember her words became muffled. It was like something out of a movie. Words stopped making sense to me, and I stared at my mom's mouth, trying to comprehend what she was saying before things became unclear. Sitting there for what felt like 30 minutes, trying to understand what my mom was saying, but hearing the words, your dad passed away last night, on repeat in my head, caused me to get up and run to the back room where I began to break down and cry. My older sister came in behind me, but everything after that was a blur. My heart was broken for the first time in my life, and the once happy, creative, charismatic little daddy's girl was gone with her father. It was years later that I would start to suffer from things like anxiety, depression, and I even had panic attacks that was associated with that childhood trauma. All of this hid behind a smile because I never wanted anyone to know just how broken I was. I realized later on in life that I was actually watching my father die from cancer as he became more and more emaciated. Someone once said, often it is our deepest pain which empowers you to grow into your highest self. I didn't recognize it at the time, but the passing of my father was my catalyst to my journey of self-discovery. I used that pain that I experienced to fuel my purpose. As a high school senior, I told the story of my childhood when applying for over 30 scholarships. And by the time I graduated high school in 2013, I received 5 academic scholarships with over $500,000 in scholarship funding, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Millennium Scholarship and the Army ROTC Award. Gates scholars like to joke that Bill Gates is our sugar daddy, but if I ever have the chance to meet Bill Gates, I will thank him for his generosity. His scholarship has changed many lives, including mine. At the age of 23, 12 years after the passing of my father, I decided to invest in my healing and my personal development because I was so tired of my childhood trauma controlling every aspect of my life. I started reading spiritual and personal development books, and I really studied the lives of people who went from humble beginnings to prosperous futures full of joy and opportunity, because those are the things that I wanted in my life. I started to look for patterns in their lives, and that's when I realized that they were basically all saying the same exact things, but they were finding creative ways to say them based on their own personal stories. They all understood universal law, and they used that wisdom to create their ideal life, understanding that nothing was off limits to them. They all developed the successful mindset. When I learned this, I modeled their behaviors and started to seek my truth. I started asking tough questions, and I learned about my ancestry because in order to know where you are going, you must first understand where you have been. After years of researching my ancestry, I learned that I am the descendant of Joseph Levi Harrell and Laura Lampkin Harrell, 2 formerly enslaved Africans from the Harrell Plantation in Hawkinsville, Georgia. These are the same formerly enslaved Africans that were freed after 1865 and created a farming business from the land that was granted to them by their previous slave owners. I am the same descendant of Ella Herring, a mulatto formerly enslaved African living in Barber County, Alabama. She owned her own farm as well, and she hired her children to work the land with her after her husband died. My past is one of resiliency and entrepreneurship, and I'm seeing those traits in my own life. The sacrifices of my ancestors landed me where I am today. When you become clear on your beginnings, you can develop a greater sense of self. I did not get here on my own. God's grace has covered me and allowed me to become the first PhD student in my family at Yale University and an Army Medical Department officer on my way to be promoted to the rank of captain. I do not say these things to impress you, but to impress upon you. I have made it beyond where I want to be in life. And now my focus is on serving others to help them get to where they want to be. I had to take the road less traveled, and I never thought that I would lose some of the people that I lost on my journey of self-discovery. I could not do what was normal, and I never wanted to. I am happy in this life right now because I chose to live a life that will outlive me. And this is only the beginning of my becoming. I tell my story and plan to further serve others in my first book, Crystal Clear, A Journey of Self-Discovery, that launches on March 21st, 2021, to share a message of hope and inspiration. My mission is simple: to use my success and the tools of success I have acquired along the way to create change and help make that path to change crystal clear for other individuals like me. Because the people who change this world are usually the ones who are crazy enough to believe they can. My name is Crystal, and I am here to serve a purpose in this life. My name proclaims clarity and brilliance, and I am every bit of it. Take the time to get to know yourself because this world needs you, all of you. I believe that the truest expression of who we are is developed when we are young. Children have this blind faith in the unseen, and that is expressed in their vivid imaginations. Unfortunately, many of us lose that faith and curiosity as we grow older, but I think that it can be found again if we are only willing to put in the work to unpack all the years of restrictions that have been placed upon us. Think of yourself now, connecting to that inner child. What does the truest expression of who you are look like? Are you willing to cultivate the courage to be all that you need to be? You must become clear on what it is you want out of life. And you gain that clarity by investing in your personal development and facing your biggest fears. But the beautiful thing about this is that you don't have to do it by yourself. So what are you waiting for? Your higher self has been waiting on you. Please feel free to check out my website, crystalclearinnovation.com, for more details on my journey and the opportunity to connect with me. I also have some free resources there to help you on your journey of self-discovery. Thank you so much for your time and your attention, and God bless.
And thank you so much, Crystal. That was a wonderful message. I'm a strong believer in order to know, where you're going, you have to know where you came from. And
Yes.
you're just a testament to that. So thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.